Today's menu includes journaling and scrapbooking with a purpose, unique journaling with Erin Madsen, lettering tutorial, and finally a page featuring dimensional flowers from Stacey Caron.
Stir them all together for one fabulous scrapbook soup.
Today's Scrapbook Soup has been brought to you in part by Spellbinders, dye templates for cutting, embossing, and stenciling. Beautiful details, inspiring creativity. Spellbinderspaperarts.com. Stamp, sprinkle, tap, heat, wow. Wowembossingpowder.co.uk. Sakura Color Products of America. sakuraofamerica.com.
Why do we scrapbook? Hello, I'm Julie McGuffee, and this is Julie Faith on Balzer.
Why we scrapbook is an important question. It can be to preserve memories, chronicle events, or can play an important part in the life story of people with memory loss issues such as Alzheimer's.
On today's show, we thought we'd start out with some ways to use scrapbooking in your life and to get those pictures out of your smartphone and out of the computer.
You know, it's true. I can't go anywhere without my phone. I love this thing, and I'm constantly taking photos. I'm tweeting, I'm Instagramming, I'm uploading things
I have noticed
all the time to
about
Facebook.
you.
I know. I like my social media. But the thing is that I love is that I can actually print wirelessly to my wireless printer just through my phone, no problem. I don't have to upload it anywhere. It just goes, it prints out, and then I've got the actual pictures, which I can actually share with actual people.
Well, that's great because I love seeing them. Now, you have an app for that, right? That's free and that allows you to do that. I do too, and I love it. It's very easy peasy, as you say. Now, I've loved the digital camera, and the advantages of the digital camera are also the disadvantages because we can take so many photographs. We're not limited anymore like we were with print film at one time. And so what I would do is, I hate that delete button. I never know which one to delete. I print out index sheets, and so at least I've got a record of pretty much everything, and then I can pick and choose. You know, at one time we used to get photos on floppy disks, and we used to get negatives and prints, and we'd also put our photographs on CDs. But the important thing is we have to print them out, because if we're not printing them out, they can get completely lost.
Well, I mean, who has an ability to read a floppy disk anymore? I certainly don't.
Well, I don't either. And you know what? You like to look at photographs. It's a touch thing.
Very tactile.
Very tactile.
And I think it's important also when you're talking about memories that you want to be able to share them with not just like strangers on the web, but with real people who they really matter to, who the stories are about.
Right.
You know?
You don't want to have to open up your computer or your phone to show someone a photograph of your children or your friends or what you've been doing during the day.
It's like, I know my dad always carried a picture of me and my brother in his wallet for as long as I can remember. It's just so much easier to be able to take out an actual photo.
It is.
And speaking of that, this is a journal in which every single week, and I've been doing this since January, I do a 2-page spread of my week. And I have in here, this is a photo I took with my phone. In fact, I think these are all photos I took with my phone. This is a printout of an email. Here are some tweets that I just put together in a photo editing program. Again, photos from my phone. I also have actual memorabilia, you know, from events, cards that I was sent. And then you want to make sure, I think, that when you're doing something that's about your life, about all those little moments and those little things, capture where you live. This is just the mess that was on my desk so I can remember what that was like, what I was wearing, the people I hung out with, a painting I did. You know, I wrote about how my husband was having a terribly bad day here.
I'm sure he's thrilled to know that.
But these are the little stories that make up our lives. And, you know, I know a lot of people who are military families or people whose husbands or wives are traveling a lot, this is a great project because it triggers memories and they are able to see what happened while they were away. They can see the things that the kids did, the new word, the fun things that happened, the homework, the drawings, all that kind of good stuff.
That when the sink backed up, right? But you know what, Julie, what I really love about this, you've not only printed out all your photographs, you've also printed out the stories.
Don't be scared to point out exactly how you're feeling about a situation, because maybe the sink backed up at your house and your husband's super handy and he was able to deal with it, but mine isn't, so I'm hysterical. So we could both hear about the same event, but have two very different reactions to it.
I tell you what, it really makes for a fun day. You know, I remember when I was little, I loved to pore over my father's album. He made this in 1942. He was stationed in the Mediterranean, and it chronicled where he was, the places he went to. There's photographs of the pyramids, and I got to know my father when he was a young man, because of course when I was born, you know, and as I got older, then of course he was an older man. But this was a completely different person to the father that I knew.
It's hard to remember that our parents had lives before us, isn't it?
I know, they really did have lives before us, I can imagine. But you know, it's so important. And my son was went to visit a nursing home where they had some Alzheimer's patients. And he came back and he says, you know, Mom, he says, I couldn't believe it. They had photographs of the patient, and they were on the door, and it showed the patient as they were younger. They were riding horses, or they were swimming, or they were walking the beach. They were with family members, so they weren't just a patient. It was a person, and anybody went in that room, they actually got to know that person.
A photo can tell so much of a story. It's amazing.
Stories of our lives is so important, and we really don't want to lose those. So that's why it's so important. And I say this so many times, you just have to print them out. Otherwise, they can be lost for generations.
True.
And look how special all these older photographs are. This was an album that was actually made by one of our cameramen right here in the studio. And just look how beautiful it is. This is actually the family tree right in the front. And he showed this to his grandmother.
And I love, again, like we said, he's included stories. There is a lot of journaling and information because, you know, when you're looking at an old photo, it does trigger a memory, but if you weren't there, then you need the rest of the story.
You really do. And you know, we see a lot of these absolutely beautiful scrapbook pages. They're works of art, and these are absolutely wonderful. But sometimes it can also be very, very simple, where all we do is we put a photograph on a page and we just slip it in an album. We keep it really quick and easy, and it's just as beautiful because the story is just the same, because the photograph is just the same. It's just all about the photograph, but we want to be able to see it.
I know. I think sometimes people, when they think about scrapbooking, they get worried that that's going to be a lot of work or a lot of rules, but you know, it can be as easy as like these divided page protectors, you know? You just slip it in, and I work on each of these layouts each week, you know, 10 minutes a day here, 10 minutes a day there, and before you know it, with just printing out a couple of photos, you have an entire album and a record of your life that other people can actually see, and that really expresses where you are at that moment.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so much fun. You can have this on the coffee table. It's so much nicer than opening up a laptop and saying, well, this is what I took the other day.
Agreed. And Julie will be right back with some great ideas for journaling with Erin.
Well, today we're really stressing the importance of journaling. And Erin Madsen joins us with this unique scrapbook page. And I say it's unique, and it's just the way that you've done the journaling. And you started with a stack of themed papers all about a little boy, right?
Yes, I know. We love boy-themed paper. So this is a layout that I made, just me and my little boy, Troy. And you can see all the bright colors. I love all of the little tags with the words, and everything is cut out from our paper. So it's really easy to make a full complete page just with a stack of paper.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the papers. Do you have these in here? We can pull these out.
Yeah,
well, you can,
look
but I
at
just
those bright
wanted
colors.
to just flip through look at all these great colors. And I love the way that they're themed. You know, we don't often find things for boys. It's a lot of flowers for girls and hearts and general things, but these are just perfect. And I love the way you actually use the paper for the journaling.
Yes, yes. I think the journaling is the most important part of your scrapbook page, because that's the legacy that you're going to be leaving the generations that are going to be looking at these books. So this is going to be the base of our paper, of our scrapbook page, and I actually did a hand-cut heart, and I just used a scrap piece of paper and cut a heart out and then traced it and cut it out. And we'll just have that down on the page. And I'm just going to stick down a photo mat and my photo. And Julie, do you mind helping me out and cutting out some word phrases from our paper?
And that's from this paper,
yes,
right
look
here.
Look at all the options
I
that you
love
have.
this idea. I mean, it is a piece of paper, but look at all, you know, sometimes we're at a loss for words. And it's so nice when we can go to something like this and all we have to do is cut them out.
I know, I love that. And you could even use some pop dots to maybe bring them up and
make them
give
dimensional.
some dimension to your page. Okay, so I'm going to add my title over here. So I did my handwriting, you can see. For mine, I did, don't ever forget to always be yourself. And I love handwriting on my page.
You know, it is important because it's part of who you are, and everybody has a very, very unique handwriting. And when we can include that in our scrapbook pages and our journaling, it just adds something really, really special to it.
Yes, it does. Okay, so I have these little tags that are already cut out, and all I'm going to do is, you can see on my page how they kind of flip off of the page a little bit, and all I did is I kind of just rolled them through my finger to kind of make them pop off the page a little.
They kind of,
that is? Yeah.
So they look like little flags that are actually waving in the wind.
So I'm going to just do a little line of glue, and then you can just line your little tags up right here. And you know, there's no particular order. You can just, whatever looks good, just add your little tags. So we'll do that, and then once you have all those on, you're going to cover up, so you see how they're not all even. We'll just fix that by doing a little strip
The strip
of paper.
across the top, that's a great idea.
And I love this part of the page. I love. Do you see all of the different designs?
All the little circles?
Yes, it was actually.
Oh, we have another one in here too.
Look how, so this page was meant to be able to cut out and add little journaling elements. But look what I'm going to do to get those different pieces. Instead of cutting up a bunch of full-size sheets of paper, I'm just going to punch out these circles.
Oh, so from one sheet of paper you have all these options of different patterns and different colors.
Yes. And then it all comes from one page, and I've cut out other elements. You can kind of see the shoe and the little lip smooch, and all the different pieces were taken from this page. So,
Erin, I love this. This is so unique. But you know what? You brought other examples of unique journaling with you, and so we have to show our viewers those.
Well, like I
Tell
said,
us
the
about
journaling
this
is the
page.
most important part of your page. This page, I just love. It does. You don't always have to have a lot of journaling. You know, I only did 3 lines right here. Never thought I would find them, but I finally did. So you don't always, you know, some pages you're going to really want to explain the story and do lots of journaling, and then others,
you
it
just
doesn't
need
take
a
a whole lot.
caption.
Exactly. This one is also that I did on the computer, but I changed some of the fonts. So I have a basic text font, and then I kind of mixed up some of the words that I wanted to emphasize and did it in another
You know, you said
style.
handwriting is so important, but you know, sometimes we get stressed when we have to handwrite, and so allowing ourselves to do it on the computer is really nice.
Yes, yes. This one actually is little journaling tags.
Here,
This
there we
is
go.
just the bride and the groom. They're different. They're different memories from their wedding day, so
Right.
it's kind of a fun take on.
And I like the
on a
way
memory.
you've hidden it behind the
Yeah.
photograph. That is really, really neat. And then this last,
Okay, and this, I love handwriting on pages. I think that the generations that follow us are really going to want to see our handwriting. So this is just a vacation page and just a memory jotted and our personal handwriting.
And then this is our last one, Erin. This is gorgeous. The little lion on there with the little girl.
And this is fun just on my printer. I just did a different color font, so you don't always have to have black and white for your fonts. You can do a color, and always a little signature from mom is always fun
Erin,
as
these
well.
are great and very unique ideas. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. And we'll be right back.
One of the things that I love is when I can make a layout just from a piece of cardstock, a photo, and some pens. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna make this fun layout that's all about lettering and doodling and having a good time. And I do wanna point out that it's not like lettering is something you should immediately be able to do. If you can look, I have all these scratch papers where I practiced and tried out all my different pens, the color combinations, and I experimented before I actually started to make my layout. So now that I'm ready, the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a black pen and I'm gonna do some very simple doodling. So this doodle, which is so easy, and I'm just gonna put my photo down so that I know about where it's gonna go, is I'm simply gonna draw a big line around the border. It's totally messy, and that's totally awesome. And then I'm going to add to it, so now it's a double line, because this is gonna become the stem of my kind of fun flower. Now a flower is actually very, very easy to build. I'm just gonna do this kind of, would you call this an eye shape? Something like that. Maybe it's not quite a teardrop, a leaf shape. And I'm just gonna keep adding these same shapes inside until my flower just seems to sprout right out. And then for the border, I'm just gonna do some dashed lines. And you know, I don't worry too much about whether the line connects or if it goes too far through or anything like that. I'm just having a good time doodling because I think anything that shows the hand of the artist is automatically more interesting. So I have one here, which I've partway colored, as you can see. And one of my favorite new ways to color is with a pen that has a big brush tip, because it's kind of like painting, except you have the control of a pen. So with the brush tip, all I do is I use the side of the brush and I just kind of play in there and I'm just scribbling along, and it covers a lot of ground quite quickly. And you can be super careful, which is what I'm being right now, or you can just scribble it in and get the idea. The other thing that you can do with a brush pen is you can actually do some lettering. So again, I'm going to use the side of the pen. I'm going to put my photo in so that again, I know approximately where I want my title. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to write the word growing in my natural script handwriting, not worrying at all about whether it's neat or perfect or anything like that, just using the side of the pen. And because I'm using the side of the pen, I want to point out one of the interesting things that's happening, which is right here it's getting narrow and then fat. And it does it again, narrow and then fat. And it looks really neat. The next step in doing your title is I'm going to go back to this permanent black pen and I'm going to go ahead and give the letter a rough outline. And this is just going to give it some impact, something stronger. And notice how I make sure to do the insides of the letter along with the outsides. And I'm not being exact. Can you see how unexact this is? I'm just relaxing and letting it be. So I'm just going to let that be part of it because I want to show you the third part of doing this. The third part is I'm going to take another brush pen, and this time I'm going to take a black one. Hold on a second, I need to tip it out. There you go. And then again, I'm going to use the side to do a shadow. And I'm just going to go boom, and I want to do on the right side and under. So anywhere that is right or under is getting a shadow, right and under. That's right, that's right, that's under. And you can see how quickly that shadow grows, which I think is a great way to make the title just pop off the page. And I have one here where I've finished the shadow. And you'll notice the other thing that I have here is I've drawn lines with a pencil. And that is so that I can do my journaling. And I want to show you how easy it is to do a journaling with your own handwriting. So I'm just going to write the first word in regular cursive. I'm just. Then I'm going to write the words, a girl. And I am going to switch to a pen that has a sort of calligraphy-esque tip. And what I'm going to do is holding it totally up and down. I'm going to do my big fat stroke, then a thin stroke, turning it to the side, cross it, and then again, a big fat stroke, turn it to the side, and then I keep going through until I get this really cool sort of faux calligraphy, which is just super easy and fun to do. So I hope this gave you some easy ideas on how you can add your own handwriting and just make a quick layout with just some pens, some cardstock, and a photo. And we'll be right back.
Well, we're so delighted to have Stacey Caron join us once more on the show. And Stacey, I was just looking at this beautiful scrapbook page, and I just love those flowers, the dimension and everything. And now how are we going to do that from just a die cut?
It's really amazing, and it's super simple. We're going to die cut a bunch of flowers.
Okay.
And we're going to start there. So first thing is just pick out your cardstock and place it on your cutting mat. Okay. And we've got all kinds. You can see there's lots and lots of dies on this. We're going to run them all through at one time.
Okay. Now I notice this is there's a pattern on the other side of the paper. So
Right.
is it important which way down the paper is?
Yeah, you're going to want to have the pattern that you want to show down.
Facing down,
Right.
on top
so
of
when
the
you run
die.
it through, then you obviously get the result that you want when
Cool.
it comes out.
Okay.
So we're just going to place this into the die cutting machine, run it through.
Now the plates that you're using, they're actually marked, so we're
Yes.
not going to get mixed up. And the
Yes.
top one, that's the cutting plate.
That's the cutting plate.
And that goes on top of the cutting edge of the die.
Yes, because the die blades are face up, so
Uh-huh.
you want to have something to cut into.
All right.
Okay.
I know that's important. Oh,
So
that
the
was
first
easy.
pass through the machine, and I've cut out a lot of dies, is obviously the cut. And then the second pass through the machine is going to be for embossing. So
Okay.
we can peel all these off and turn them back over onto the base plate again.
Yeah, let me help you here.
And you can see
There
some
we
of them
go.
are already out of the paper. And you know what? Save your scraps, because you might want to use your negative dies.
Oh gosh, yeah, we
Yeah.
could put a photograph behind that or something. Okay,
Okay.
Stacey, now what am
It's
I going to
okay
do with
if it
that
pops
one?
out, it's no problem. What you have right now is a plain die cut. There's no detail yet. You just slide it right back into the die, just like that.
Just pop it right back in
pop
there.
it right back in. And now we're ready for embossing.
Okay, and it's back on the base plate again.
Right, back on the base plate. So now we're just going
Get
to take
this
our
out of there.
embossing mat.
Oh, I'm going to keep this
We're
one.
going to run this through a second time to get the embossed detail. And you want the marked plate that says
so
embossing.
this is a pink plate.
Yeah.
And it says embossing. Oh,
Yep.
I like that. It's so easy.
Just going to run it through a second time. So then when you want to go to make your dimensional flowers, guess how we're going to do that? We're going to stack the flowers together.
And they're all
we're
going to
do
be
a
the
few
right
other-
way up. Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to do a few more tricks too. So it just goes to show you it's pretty easy to make your
Well,
own
I see
flowers.
one good turn deserves another.
That's
there
right.
we go.
Okay, we're ready. We're in business. So now we've got our flowers that are dimensional.
And embossed.
And
That
embossed.
is
See
really
the embossing in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you twirl this around and make this flower dimensional.
Oh, the little spiral rows. I love those.
So take a toothpick and pop out your piece.
Uh-huh.
And then just pull.
Just pull it
Yep.
right off.
And you know
there.
what's really cute about this? You could use this as a seashell too.
Oh my gosh, yes, you could.
But if you roll it up, you're going to get a dimensional
Or just
flower.
a swirly, or we could actually turn it and, oh, all kinds of things.
Yes.
Okay, now
So
we've
here's
got
a
one
skewer.
started over
Yep, we
here,
do.
so I'm going to use that one. And this is just a regular bamboo stick.
Yep.
Okay, we're not going to make kebabs with this one
No
later, right?
kebabs.
And so the edges are turned just a little bit.
Right.
And then I'm going to start by rolling it around here.
Right?
Cool.
And
Now
once
what
you
do
get it going, now I'm popping out the next die cut out of the
Okay.
die. And I'm just using a toothpick just to get the die out.
Alrighty.
And then we're going to take a pencil and we're actually going to make this die dimensional by just folding back the petals. This die has a cut on the inside, so see how you can actually separate them. And then you just take your pencil and you roll and you get the dimension.
See, I'm watching what you're doing, and I'm not watching what I'm doing. Okay, now I'm finished with my flower, and we're just going to seal the end with a sticky dot.
And I've just finished mine.
Pop that right there, and get it off the paper here, the backing.
Go ahead and put it right there in the center of my flower.
There we go. Oh,
look,
we've made another flower.
We've made a whole another flower.
Oh, that is so cool.
Isn't that fun? Look how pretty that flower is.
I like
Just
that.
from combining them together. And over here you can see how we've combined several different die cut flowers to create all these beautiful flowers.
Yeah, they're really pretty, and for even added dimension. And notice how you've offset the
it.
petals, so it's exactly the same design. We've just offset it just a little bit.
Yep.
Let's just go look at this page because
page
it
is
is it's just so beautiful. And I love that cluster of flowers at the bottom and all the little filigree
Yeah,
around
and you
it.
notice the cluster of flowers is circular, and then we use the large circle die to carry through on the circle theme.
On the circle thing. And then you've used the other dies as mats behind
Yes.
the photograph too.
Same thing with the frame. You can use the larger die, again with your cluster of flowers in the circular form.
Uh-huh.
A really good trick is on the layout right here. That actually looks like a flower, but it's not. It's actually this die right here.
It's actually a border die. You know, it's the
yep.
accordion fold thing.
Yep.
And all we have to do
It's just an edging.
is just fold, and
Yeah.
after you folded it up, you'd probably put two together, right? To
Yes,
make it a
you would
lot
put two
fatter,
together.
and then just
Look at
fan
the
it
flower you've
out.
just created. So look at your dies differently and see what you can create with
Yeah,
them.
lots of
All the
different
borders
things.
basically will make flower designs.
We're becoming paper engineers.
We are
I have
paper
to say.
engineers.
Now, I love this frame here. Now, that's the back of a canvas,
That's
right?
a back of a canvas board, yep, and we've used the inside as a little shadow box, again with the dimensional flowers and the circle theme going on.
Stacey, thank you so much. We've become paper engineers with die cuts. These are awesome.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. We have time for one quick journal, and this is mine, and it is very, very quick, because basically all I like to do is scribble and practice and just do all kinds of doodling, just like you, but just a little bit differently. But I know you have something really, really special with us to share, Julie.
Well, thanks, Julie. Well, so this is my everyday art journal, and I make one of these every few weeks. And what I do is I just every day, you can see 28, 29, I just write down what's on my mind. I draw pictures, I include photos, I have little flaps and flips and stuff like that that can be very fun. I write just what's going on with me, how I'm feeling. I tell my story. Here's even a to-pack list right in my journal of things that I needed to pack, because this is my notebook basically where I keep all my thoughts. These are things I clipped out of the newspaper and then doodled over to make them more of my own. You know, and I like to prepare some pages ahead of time. So you can see here, this is a page that's waiting for some writing. And this makes it possible for you to write at any time, at any moment. You don't need to bring your art supplies with you. You just do it right at home. And well, that's our show. Join us next time as it's all about matching and coordinated looks for your projects.
All in one scrapbook soup.
Visit scrapbooksouptv.com for a mix of designers, materials, and projects. All of the patterns and pages on this Series 200, all in one scrapbook soup. This is show 204. Mix it all up with more Scrapbook Soup. A DVD set of all 13 episodes of Scrapbook Soup Series 200 is available for $39.99 plus shipping and handling. Visit scrapbooksouptv.com to order a mix of designers, materials, and projects, all in one scrapbook soup. Today's Scrapbook Soup has been brought to you in part by Spellbinders, die templates for cutting, embossing, and stenciling. Beautiful details inspiring creativity. Spellbinderspaperarts.com. Stamp, sprinkle, tap, heat, wow. Wowembossingpowder.co.uk. Sakura Color Products of America. SakuraofAmerica.com.